Hey guys, in today's video, I want to talk about a topic I feel many of us have. Does money buy happiness? Now, I feel like I am more in the middle when it comes to this question, for the mere fact is, in the simple answer, yes, I feel like money can buy you happiness, but in another perspective, I feel like it also can. I feel like it can also bring more misery than happiness to an individual, depending on how you know whether or not how to manage your money. Now, this is what I mean by here. Does money buy happiness? I think yes, money can buy you happiness, for the mere fact is when you're going through immense trials and tribulations. You know, it does feel good to go out on a vacation and get a change of scenery. Now, with that comes travel cost, it comes food, and it comes stay wherever it is you're going, whether you're staying in a vehicle or whether you're staying at a hotel or whatever, staying at a resort, whatever. All of that comes at a price, right? All of that comes with an expense. And in order to pay for these expenses, you have to have money in order to do these such things, right? Now, does money buy happiness? On the contrary, you know, for someone who has a lot of wealth and a lot of money, the reason how I feel like it can also bring more misery than it can pleasure to an individual is because when you have a lot more money, what happens? Now there are always going to be people who are going to approach you to ask you something. There are always going to be people who are going to have a take mindset, meaning, what can you give me? I know you have all of this wealth and I have almost nothing, and I am here struggling. In my mind, you can help me out, and I know you can. And with that mentality, you know, when you have such wealth, people are constantly going to be drawn to you, maybe because of how you carry yourself, which is a positive meaning, a good meaning, right? But two, people are always going to be drawn to you because you have wealth. Hey, you know, I really have been wanting XYZ, and they kind of like give out these little hints, and it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. Or maybe because you have a lot of financial wealth. Now, depending on how much wealth you have, how much financial wealth you have, that can also be, it creates a target on your back. From the moment, you know, people know you have a lot of money, you instantly, a knife metaphorically appears at your back. And then the reason why I wanted to mention that as well is because does money buy happiness? I feel like it can. Like for me, for example, if I happen to come into immense wealth, whether that's with like my YouTube channel taking off, or my personal brand or personal brands, or my other financial projects that I have going on behind the scenes, if any of those things take off, right, obviously I am going to come into a large sum of financial wealth. And yeah, do I think that would make me happy? Absolutely. I mean, these past several years, I'm just reflecting off of since 2020, you know, my psychiatric hold experience and the moments that led up to that experience in 2020 when I was on a psychiatric hold. You know, if, you know, like, I don't want to say if, but when when the opportunity presents itself, or when, you know, my hard work behind the scenes that, you know, I put in a lot behind the scenes, you know, finally starts to pay off, and I come into this financial wealth, right? Would it make me happy? Would it make me happy? Absolutely. I think it strongly will. For the mere fact is, now I will be able to get a little bit more freedom. Freedom in terms of, now I can hire the necessary team when it comes to meeting my medical needs, and I will also have the opportunity to get up and go as I please. For example, if it's like, let's say I have all of this wealth, right? Financial wealth. And it's, let's say, you know, I've been working tirelessly on a personal brand, or working tirelessly on other financial projects. And I'm like, you know what? I've been at it for several months or whatever, you know, like right now in this context, you know, I've been at it for several years now. So if I did come into a large sum of cash, right, I would, of course, make sure all of my current work continues to keep running and continues to run smoothly. So that way, you know, I would put in extra effort. So that way I can be like, you know what, I want to take like maybe a week off, or maybe like 2 weeks off, or maybe travel for a month, But of course, the longer, like let's say if I happen to travel for a month, right? Obviously, there are going to be a lot of expenses, such as now hiring a team to take care of my needs, right? Because of my disability, and also the travel cost, hotel stay, food. Maybe you're going to want to splurge a little bit, right? And kind of like treat yourself for all of the hard work you have done and been putting into this craft, right? This work of art that you have been working on. And with that, of course, if I knew, like, for example, I was going to go on like a month trip, obviously I'd put in a lot more work behind the scenes, like push myself a little bit more. So that way, that entire month, I can do like little to like nearly nothing. Obviously, I would make sure to kind of like at least be involved somewhat, like at least a little bit, whether that's me dealing with stuff on my phone or whatever. I feel like I would still want to do a little bit of stuff. The reason why is because I don't want to fully cut off that momentum. It's very, very hard to build up momentum, and it is a lot more simpler to keep up that momentum. But once you go from like having momentum to like instantly stopping doing nothing, then it's what's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit harder to build up that momentum to get going again. Put yourself in that mindset, in that ambitious mindset, determined mindset, to fulfill whatever it is you envision for yourself, right, for your future. Now, on the other hand, back to me is, if I ever came into, like, again, one of my projects happens to immensely take off in a paramount positive way, right, where I do come into a lot of financial wealth, I feel like it can also bring a little bit of misery to some individuals. Now, for me, I feel like I would be able to handle that aspect in terms of, in terms of like feeling threatened when you have a lot of wealth, I feel like I'd be able to handle that a little bit well. I don't really know how to explain that, but I feel like for some people, when you don't really know how to manage money, or you really are not prepared, that's probably the best word I can describe, is when you instantly come into forms of money and you're unprepared to handle such money or handle such responsibility, right? Because it is your responsibility to manage this wealth and take it, and not only manage this financial wealth, to keep it going, or whatever your plan is for it, right? Hopefully it is to multiply it and to keep it growing, but to also make sure you take care of you too, because I feel like, just off of what I have seen, sometimes when you get into money, like, people will lose themselves in the process. Why? Because they are unprepared, to attain such responsibility or such opportunity. They're unprepared for it. That's why you hear certain people, like, who win millions from the lottery, and they spend it all, and they either lose themselves or they completely blow off the money on ridiculous, foolish things, and next thing you know, like a little bit down the line, they're back to their ordinary lifestyle. And the reason why is because they were given such wealth, and they were completely unequipped with the foundations to help them, attain this financial wealth. And I think this would be a cool video to kind of talk about, like, does money buy you happiness? Does money buy you happiness? I feel like yes, depending on the individual. If you don't know how to manage wealth, and you don't know how to attain that lifestyle, again, metaphorically speaking, a target appears at your back instantly. So you're always going to have to be on guard. You're always going to have to be on watch. You're always going to have this feeling that whoever it is you're talking to, or whoever it is you are interacting with, they want something from you. It's not like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, hey, how you doing? But mentally, you're silently thinking, okay, like, what do you want, right? And I feel like that's kind of like the mentality people would have when they come into such wealth. Now, in simple terms, does money buy you happiness? Again, I think it depends on the individual. I feel like for some, it could do a lot worse than good for some people. Now, I wanted to make this video because The purpose of this video is, yes, to talk about this, my own personal perspective on does money buy you happiness. But I wanted to document this process as well and talk about this, because that's when you are building your dream and you're trying to fulfill this dream, whatever your dream is, whether you aspire to become an artist, a musician, a writer, an author, content creator, architect, whatever, a doctor, anything you aspire to do within your life. The reason why, when you're going through this process, and you are going to have, moments depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. For me, like if you go from an ordinary life, meaning your path is very turbulent, it's very trialed, you are an individual very tested and challenged. And this isn't just you, but this has been happening for generations, before you. This has happened with your ancestors. And this is going on and on and on, like again, you're the ordinary individual. You don't come into a family where you have a lot of resources, right? And, you're building something from the ground up, from nearly nothing. Or the only things you have left, the only thing that you have to build upon are the tools in which your foundations, your ancestors have brought you to help you, build your foundation. Let me phrase that. The only tools that you have are the tools that your ancestors has brought upon you, to help you build your foundations, and before you, these ancestors that came before you, they slowly, started taking steps forward, like your great-grandparents did something that affected your grandparent, right? And then your grandparent did something that affected your parent, and then your parent did something that ultimately affected the child, and then so on and so forth, and it kind of goes down the line like that. And hopefully, within that process, these people have slowly did something that inched them 1 foot further than where they were. Not just themselves, but where the entire bloodline was coming from. And if you are that individual who is willing to take, not just one step forward, utilizing all of these tools that your ancestors has brought upon you, today, because of all of their sacrifices, ultimately, is affecting your life, right? But if you are that individual where you go the extra mile and you really, really are that individual to break these generational chains, you are going to be very challenged. You are going to be extremely, extremely tested. And in those moments, the reason why, when you're locked in your room and you're crying and you're like trying to build something, you're trying to create something that your bloodline has never seen possible. They heard about, achieving a extraordinary lifestyle, but it's impossible unless you win the lottery. But you are that individual, where you're really, really trying to do the extraordinary. You are that person. You're the one to break generational after generational chains and patterns. When you are at that individual and you are locked in your room crying, why me? Why isn't anything I am doing working? Why do you have me go through XYZ? Why do you keep putting me in and out of the hospital? Why do you keep putting me in these environments where I am mentally and emotionally breaking? Why do you keep putting me through these things, where you are really, really breaking my spirit in which, you keep telling me, hold on, better things lie ahead. And all you keep saying is nothing changing. You're stuck in this mud. And this mud not only is covering you, making you feel buried, but this mud is so thick and you're lathered so deep into this mud. because many people were not able to get out of it. And now you're dealing with all of this weight, and you're trying, to keep on going. And you're trying to break through all of these generational chains. But by some, God-given ability, you keep going. You don't quit. You keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep that mindset. Learn from my mistakes. What can I improve on? God, I don't know why it is you keep having me go through this, but you have that ounce of faith that everything will be worth it. Everything will be okay. And you keep going. You keep going when your spirit's breaking. Emotionally, mentally, you are cracking. You're not doing so great. You keep going. You keep showing up every single day anyways. And you keep going and you keep going. You don't quit. You persevere. You endure more than you ever thought was possible for you. And you question, why can't I, be happy? Or why can't I live that lifestyle of that individual that you see through the screen? Why can't that happen to me? When you see reality shows or TV shows, and you see, that breakthrough of that individual appearing on the show, and these celebrities or talk show hosts are helping these individuals with a check, a miraculous check, or something that really gives that individual a fresh breath of new air, fresh air. And you're struggling. You're wondering, why not me? How come that can't be me? I will tell you why. It is because you are an extraordinary individual. And the reason why you can't just, experience something like that right away when you want it, because you are unprepared to attain such blessing. Did you hear what I just said there? When you are unprepared for something, God cannot give you that blessing that you wholeheartedly desire. Why? Because you will ruin it. And if you will not ruin it, that thing that you desire will ruin you. And you are too valuable, too precious for God to give you whatever you want because you say you want it. You think it is best for you. But God, the one who created you, the one who has destinies predestined for you before you came here on earth, that God, the one who planned and mapped out everything within your life, the one who holds the immense power that keeps having you wake up every single day, that God that wakes you up, helps you get through the challenges, helps you have the strength to continue to show up even when you are on the verge of giving up, is the same God that is teaching you the wisdom, life lessons you need to learn now, so that way when God says, you know what, my child, you are more than enough prepared and equipped to attain your blessing. And before you know it, this opportunity presents itself to you because you are ready for it. That blessing will not destroy you. That blessing will not destroy itself once you finally get your hands on it. God knows you are going to take care of it. And most importantly, God knows you will take care of yourself. I wanted to mention this because Oftentimes, when we're really going through a dark, trialing path within our life, we always say, and we think to ourselves, if only you had won the lottery, or if only you could be the jackpot winner of a huge grand jackpot, something life-changing. But when you are that extraordinary individual, when God instills a special vision for your life that only you and you only can understand, you have to continue to endure what you must, persevere as much as you can, have an ounce of faith to continue to put one foot in front of the other, despite how much desperation you may be in and how much you want to give up. And you must be willing to reflect off of your life, take the lessons learned from your life, and implement these new founts of wisdom that you have newly discovered into your tomorrow. Take what you have learned today and start implementing those small, necessary changes for your tomorrows, helping you put one foot in front of the other. So if you are that individual questioning, why me? You are that individual that is trying to do the extraordinary, break through these generational chains. Pick your head up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop playing the victim card that you are the only one going through something, because you're not. Equip yourself with God's armor, reminding yourself of God's love, how much He loves you, how much He cares for you, how much He supports you, how much He is there for you. Because if He wasn't, then how are you watching this video if He doesn't care for you, if He doesn't love you? Meaning, you have immense opportunity in front of you. It is the enemy that tries its best to blind you from the blessings right in front of you. Why? Because that is how much potential you have, that the enemy tries its absolute best to blind you from the immense good right in front of you. You could be right around the corner from your biggest breakthrough. But you have to have that ounce of faith to create that opportunity, to keep that opportunity. And say, I don't know why you're putting me through this, but I trust you. And you continue to build upon your foundation. So that way, when you do reach your breakthrough moment, you are more than prepared to take care of it. Because God has prepared you for all of these blessings. So please, from me to you, if you can take anything away from this video, look at how far you have come. I don't know everything. I don't know what you have gone through. The truth is, nobody really knows what you have gone through. Only you do. Nobody knows what goes on in your household. Nobody knows what you constantly wake up and go to bed to. Nobody knows what really you are going through and battling mentally. Nobody knows. But I will tell you what, there is somebody that does know. And that somebody is someone you can always go to who understands. And that somebody is Jesus. Jesus has saved my life. It wasn't a book. I cannot explain this divine intervention of experience I have had. But I was, again, in the beginning of this video, I talked about me being on a psychiatric hold. It was such an ugly experience where I was medically sedated for 4 days. And within those 4 days, all I can remember is waking up and I asked for a rosary. Now, nobody really knows this, but when I say Jesus saved my life, it's not, just words I say. It's someone whom, till this day, I cannot put into words, but it is someone whom I call my brother. So on those days when you are really struggling, know that you have a big brother who loves you, cares for you, and is always willing to lend a helping hand, helping you through what it is you strongly believe you cannot get through. His hand is right there. All you have to do is get up and grab it. Hold on to it. I love you, I appreciate you, and remember, grow through what you go through. Much love. I had a clicker and it didn't cut off the video, but maybe this is a sign to end it. If you are someone, I will end it with this. I take things as signs. I'm gonna end it with this. The thing about Jesus, I feel, is a huge misconception. Is when you practice Jesus. When I mention Jesus, I am talking about, practicing his love, his wisdom. Jesus didn't see color. Jesus saw people. Jesus didn't see pain. He saw healing. Jesus never was a religious person. Jesus was a spiritual person. So for those of you who reject Jesus because you strongly believe, because a lot of people reject Jesus or God in general because of people who have done bad things, who have preached the word of God. And because of that, if that's who they are, then why would they want to worship that same God? When that person clearly is a hypocrite, or that person clearly doesn't know who God is. Yes, God may wash away your sins. Yes, God may forgive you for your sins. But that doesn't mean that you should still wake up with the attitude, oh, I can do anything I want. I can treat people however I want. mistreatingly, and it is okay because God forgives me. That is not how you should walk through this life. When you truly know God, and you truly, truly, truly know God, reflect off of your life. How many wrongs have you done within your life? And how many times has God forgave you for all of your wrongs? So my question to you is, why is it that when you come across a person who has done wrong, what gives you the right to judge them for their faults when you too have fell short? I'm gonna take that little hiccup when, this clicker didn't exactly work. I took it as a sign to add on to my last message. And I feel like this way was a good way to end this video. So please do not let people who have had bad experiences with God or Jesus, with religion. I'm personally not religious. I am a very spiritual person. Yes, I am very open to attending churches. I do attend Catholic and Christian churches, but I am open to attending any church that gives off the feeling of love, that has a good way of preaching good ministry. So please do not let bad experiences from bad people ruin your chances of developing a relationship with God. Because Jesus has saved my life, and God, the Most High, has changed it.